Hi, I'm Simon Hernandez, and I'm a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Boom, boom, pow. Yes, y'all. It is that time once again where we talk about results. Welcome to another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. I'm stoked that you're here. And today's guest is going to dazzle you with stories and inspiration. Today we have Mr. Simeon Hernandez, inspirational speaker, transformational business executive, and hope builder. Not only that, but he's a fun guy to talk to. Let's jump in. Simon, welcome to the show. Good to see you, brother. Are you ready to rock this thing?
I am totally ready to rock. So looking forward to this.
Let's give our listeners a quick win. What book have you given most as a gift?
Who Moved My Cheese? First read it back in 1999 as we were dealing with the Y2K noise. In fact, when I was at senior management at one of my prior firms, we distributed it to our entire sales force before our national sales meeting because we were going through a period of change and we wanted to help them effectively transition through it.
Excellent. I haven't heard that book in a while. Thank you for that. So it's story time. I want you to tell us a story of how you turned an apparent failure into a later success.
I worked for a company that was directly impacted by the 2008 financial crisis. So I'd moved down here for that position. And in less than 2 years, we'd built this startup territory that had less than 3 million in sales into a territory on pace to do 100 million before our business partners put our relationships on hold indefinitely because of what was going on through the crisis. The challenge was my youngest son was born during that time. And now I'm trying to figure out how am I going to continue to provide for my family? Our income stream has just been cut off. But you just have to have faith that you're going to make it through a tough situation. And if you know that you've got the opportunity will arise, they end up doing that. And in 2009, I received an offer from another company, which led to even greater success and ultimately provided the opportunity and confidence to move into divisional and national sales management positions. Without that challenge in 2008, I don't think my career would have gone down that road.
How do you keep the faith, man?
How do you keep it? You just have to realize that the world changes. As the world changes, you have two options: to give up or keep going. And if you believe in yourself and you know that you're really trying to do good for other people, that's my mantra. If you can help other people, it comes back to you. If you just keep that faith, somebody will recognize it and somebody will give you the opportunity to make a difference in the world.
Powerful. Now, you said you had two stories you wanted to share.
The other one dated back a little bit further. So this was in 1997. Someone had offered me what I thought was an opportunity of a lifetime. I was a big NASCAR fan, having just watched Days of Thunder coming out. And this person told me that they were launching a company that had a very unique spectator experience for that time. They had this proprietary technology that would give the TV viewer unprecedented access to watch the race from the driver's point of view while listening to communications. You can do this now today, but back then, this was revolutionary. So he wanted me to be the head of sales and marketing for their company. He was giving me a six-figure salary and a stock option package that ultimately would provide the financial security for me and my family for the rest of our lives. So how could you not look at that opportunity, right? Well, my oldest son was born. I flew down to their headquarters to finalize our agreement, look for a house and plan our relocation, and they wanted me to start right away. So I resigned from my job and gave my clients to the other colleagues at my firm. But in all my excitement and trust in the management team, I forgot to ask one essential question. And what do you think that would be?
I'd love to know. What was it?
Was the funding secure? And so the angel investor backed out. The company couldn't secure the funding that they thought they had. And now I had my first son, who's a newborn. I just gave up my job. Our insurance was going to run out. And again, you got to keep the faith. And so I reached out to people who I previously had worked with and went to a different area of the financial services industry, which then ultimately led me to the road for the successful career that I did have in sales and senior management. If it hadn't been for that lost opportunity, I may not have found the career and history of success that I was blessed with because I just would have been comfortable where I was at.
Thank you for that. So let's talk about you. What would you say is the most worthwhile investment that you have ever made?
I think it focuses all on training. you have to invest in your training and not just the standard things and different things. So, for example, when I graduated college, I spent 18 months at the Players Workshop of Second City, which taught me how to do improv. Improv has taught me, I mean, we ended up graduating and performing on the main stage that John Belushi, Mike Myers, and all those people had come from, big names that you watch on Saturday Night Live. And what improv taught me was that you can view a situation from multiple perspectives, but the key is to foster collaboration. You can't carry it all yourself. You have to be able to incorporate the gifts of other people. And then if you do that, you can create something from nothing. And that's a really empowering perspective. And for me, you can go the MBA route, which takes care of a lot of people. For me, that improv route, even though originally I'd wanted to be an actor, became so useful for me in the positions that I had throughout my career. And the other training that I would say is also essential is the disc behavioral analysis that I started in. I was first introduced to that in 1999, got certified in it in 2005, and have been applying the insights and techniques both in my personal and professional relationships. What I love about DISC is a lot of people think it's about personality, but what it really is, it's a language, learning how to speak four distinct languages. And if you're able to do that, it becomes fundamental to mastering your connections with other people and generating success.
In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
I'd say my Christian faith, having refound that and really utilizing that as the foundation for what was going to drive me has been the biggest impact in my life. In fact, my wife and I had talked about how we felt like we needed to do something more with our lives when we turned 50. And so we felt like we were hearing a call to stop building corporate brands, so to speak, for the individual firms that I worked for and focus on building God's brand and helping other people. So I decided to walk away from being in senior management positions in the corporate world. And then we launched Hope 323, our LLC, which is our consulting company. And we also launched our 501c3 charity, the Hope Project, so that we can help people discover the best versions of themselves through our personal development programs and community events.
You said you refound your faith. So, how did you lose touch with it? And then, how did you come back to it?
So I think this is in this day and age, sometimes you're not even allowed to talk about faith, right? And I think what is so interesting is I grew up Catholic, was baptized Catholic as a little baby, Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, Catholic college. And so I had religion along the way, but I don't know if I had faith, especially because one of my close friends died in a car accident when I was 16. And that'll shake you up especially when you should have been in the car with him that night. And so I had gone through the motions. I knew how to pray, but I really didn't understand how the prayer connected to my soul. And then in 2012, it was actually my oldest son who was rediscovering his faith that helped us find faith in a non-denominational Christian format. And so what we were able to do was get through the religion aspect of it and really embrace the faith component of what do we believe and how can we make a difference. And so that's when my wife and I started serving on a worship team. You can see behind me, I love music and playing instruments. And that has changed my life, getting connected with faith, not just through prayer, but through music and then serving other people. And it's the most empowering thing you do. It's a risk in this day and age, but I do think if
How is it a risk?
I think sometimes people are afraid to talk about their faith, especially at work, because they're afraid to bring it up. But if you think about faith and you respect other people's faiths too, right? You could have a conversation because at the heart of all faith, I truly believe everybody's God is teaching them to love other people. But somewhere along the way, that could end up getting distorted because we're all human beings. But if you remember that we're all gifts from God with unique talents and skills to bring to this world, with beliefs that should be respect, we should be able to have a discourse so that I can value what your opinion is, you can value mine, and separate that from the person and not say, this is who you are. And because you believe this way, you're bad. Inherently, we're all good. We just need to be able to respect that we can think differently and then figure out. I can tell you, it's funny because we talk about how as Catholic high school, grade school, and college, one of the key lessons that I learned in my Catholic high school was that there is a benefit to conflict because the way that they presented it to us in class is in any conflict, if you have a side that's got a thesis, the opposite of that's going to be this antithesis. But only through the thesis and antithesis coming together and hitting each other can you come up with a synthesis somewhere in the middle? And I think what we're finding today is people are either holding onto their thesis or their antithesis and refusing to find that middle ground of the synthesis, which can make this world a better place.
You said it so eloquently, because I've been playing this recording in my mind that we're living in a time right now where everything's so divisive. People are picking one side or the other. And I'm with you. Now, you said it much better than me. I'm trying to figure out, what do we have in common? How are we alike? And I like what you said, the thesis and the antithesis coming together to come to an answer. And that's really a beautiful thought. And I'm glad you shared that with us. Thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you asking that because if you think about, like, I'm Christian, so I believe in Jesus. I always thought Jesus walked in the middle somehow. He found a way when people were trying to pull him to an extreme, that he found the place in the middle to bring people to him. And for me, I have a lot of friends who are also very strong believers in their faith. And we talk about how if this world could just have a Christ explosion and we could emulate what his beliefs were, which he didn't have a lot of rules. It was just like love God and love one another. Heck, if we could follow that, how different could this world just be, right?
It's too simple. Okay. That is not going to sell any ads on TV. All right.
I know there'd be 28 seconds you'd still have to fill up.
Right. Right. Let's have some fun. What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
I think going back to the simplicity aspect of it, I think people have simplified that success is all about activity. And especially coming from the sales world that I'd come from and the business world, they always say you just have to have a lot of activity. The more activity you do, the more successful you could be. But I think the challenge that you face with just focusing on activity is that you could waste a lot of time and you can waste other people's time by being inefficient. I don't think it's just about appointments and meetings. I think those meetings and appointments have to provide some type of value and engagement in order to be meaningful and effective. So, in fact, I had a manager once that said it was important for me to learn the secret of success. And I asked him, can you just save me some time and just tell me what it was so that I can start moving from there? He said, no, you have to figure it out for yourself. And so to save your listeners some time, here's what I learned just from my experience that for me, the secret to success is a formula, that it's the number of quality customer contact that you have, and then having the right, multiplying that by the right program. I'm sorry, multiplying that by the right program, and then multiplying that by the quality of the interaction that leads to results. So if you have the number of quality contact times the right program times the quality of the customer interaction, you'll get results. And I think if you only focus on contact, but you can't offer somebody that will help them, something that'll help them, are you going to be successful? Probably not. But if you have two of it, so let's say you're meeting people, you have the right program, but you can't have this engaging interaction like we're having right now, the essence is going to be lost. And then you don't engage them, and then you lose that too. So those three components for me throughout my career were the key factor: quality of the customer contacts times the right program times the quality of the interaction.
Are you enjoying the interview? Yeah, I had to jump in here for a second and ask you, if you've been listening for a while and you haven't subscribed to the show, why not? Go to wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Results Leader FM, and hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss another episode. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. Let's talk about results. Why do results matter?
I think results matter because we focus on progress. And so the way that you focus and gauge your progress is by seeing what results you achieve. More often, also, results will provide you the incentive to help each one of us maximize our skills and potential. So if I didn't know what I was shooting for, I didn't know how to apply my skills, right? So it's like I need to know what the end result's going to be. Also, coming again from a business world, especially with sales, if you're compensated based on performance, those results can be the differentiator for the type of life that you live based on how much money you make. But I think if you just take a look at life in general, results are the effects or consequences of our choices. And so results are intrinsic to how we may end up evaluating the lives we've chosen to live.
In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
Simplify your message or mission. And then the key part is be clear on how you can help someone. Because, for example, for us, my mission now, based on what we just talked about earlier, is my mission is to help people discover the best version of themselves. And we had to sit down and say, so, okay, that's what we want to do. How are we going to do it? And then we focus on our personal development programs and our community events. And then we focus on three specific areas, which is our faith, family, and function. So when it comes to faith, what do you believe? What are your beliefs? And then figuring out from that, okay, how do you incorporate that into your life? When it comes to your family, like who are your inspirations and support systems? Like I do the things I do because I want to take care of my family and give them a good life. And the people I help, if they're looking to do the same thing, I'm helping their families along the way too, right? And then your support system, your ecosystem becomes your own family. So sometimes the people that you see at work, you see them more than you see your own family. So they become what we call your work family. So that family component is an essential element in that. And then the final piece is the function. Like I mentioned, God created all of us with specific gifts, skills, and abilities. So how are we maximizing that potential to optimize our outcome? So that's how we approach everything.
What area of your business would you like better results?
I think it's going back to the results and the choices that we make, especially in this social media world that we live in. In our world in business, for example, LinkedIn can be a great resource, but I personally need to get better at how to manage LinkedIn. You get so many invitations throughout the course of the day because now I've been getting frustrated because it seems like LinkedIn has replaced cold calling. So people will just start sending you invitations to connect and then making it look like they want to really learn about you. But then the next email is like, I want to sell you something. They don't get to know you as the person that you are, right? So now you just realize you're just a lead for them. And you end up having to make decisions and then living with those decisions. So some of the people that you meet, I tend to be more trusting. I like to see the good in people, and some of the decisions from people that have tried to get me to do things I probably wouldn't have done again, just because it may not have been represented correctly. I give people the benefit of the doubt that the way that they're going to do business with me is the way I would do business with them. And I think that's an area where I have to have a little bit more guarded, even though I would love to believe that everybody is doing it the same way because I've been burned a couple. And I'm just sharing that because I'd hate to see other people get burned too. You reached out to me on LinkedIn, which is a great positive experience, but I can tell you for every one of those experiences I've had with you, probably have had 8 or 9. And I said, why am I talking to these people?
Dude, I had the weirdest experience on LinkedIn. I linked up with somebody there and they invited me to play a new sport called pickleball.
Oh,
It was the oddest thing. What?
yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to sell you anything. He was just trying to help you find a new sport, right?
Yeah, that was it. Sell me on the new sport. And then I got rackets and shoes ready for you. Too good. So, what results are you most proud of?
I think it goes back to the 3 Fs that I talked about, the faith, family, and function. I think the faith to make the decision that my wife and I made at the age that we did, we were comfortable. We could have continued to go seek that, but we were hearing a call. We made a commitment to follow our faith for my career choices. And we've been dedicated to that for the last couple of years. I mean, going through COVID and still staying in that and trying to do what we are trying to do to make a difference in people's lives. I think we're very proud of that. From a family standpoint, choices my wife and I made as parents have enabled us to create these healthy relationships with our children. And the way I gauge it is I compare the relationships we have with our children with the relationships I would have had with my parents. And how is it different? I would have loved to have been a lot closer to my parents, but they don't have the same relationship with me that I have with my kids. Watching my kids interact with my wife is the most fulfilling thing in the world because that is what's important to her behavioral style is that sense of family. And she's over the course of our lives has just been the core of our family and created such a strong family bond for us. That's been a huge blessing. And then the final part of it is the function of it, the impact our coaching programs and community events have had in people and helping people find their inspiration and change their lives. To have somebody come up to you after you do a group event or a presentation or even just finish a 9-week training session and you can see because we can measure the results of how they've grown and see it. There is a sense of fulfillment there because you have helped somebody who may not have thought that they could have been better at what they could do and shown them that way to get there. And that's such a great rush just to be able to see that and have make a difference in people's lives.
All right, I'm curious. I have to ask for my own curiosity. You said that the relationship you have with your children is different than the relationship you had with your parents. And I'm curious because I know you're Filipino and my wife is Filipino. What was that relationship like with your parents?
It's a result of the environment, the generation. So we were first generation Filipino. So, I was born in the Philippines, we lived in Australia for 5 years and then we moved here. My father was very strict. and it's a very authoritarian type of patriarchal dynamic. You have to do what they say, and sometimes the communication aspect wasn't as open as you'd want it to. And so, for example, they had my life scripted for me. I was supposed to be a lawyer, an attorney. So they made me take Latin in high school. All my friends were taking French and Spanish and being, like, cool, I'm speaking Latin. But again, the flip side is you have to find the positive in it. When it comes to writing and breaking words apart, Latin is the core for it. So that's where I welcome it. But to tell your dad who wants you to be an attorney and has you set to go to law school, that in the final senior year, in your senior year of college, the last semester, like, hey, dad, I just took an acting elective and I think I want to try this improv stuff.
Yikes.
This is the time, JR, that my dad was assigned to Paris. So I had to call him. And our phone still had cords because the cell phones hadn't come out yet. I could just metaphorically feel the cord wrapping around my neck. I was just like, oh, Dad, I don't think I'm going to go to law school. And I heard that this heaviness in the voice. What are you going to do? I'm going to think I want to try to be an actor and go to improv and check that out for 18 months. Pause. And then, so, I mean, I think growing up in the first gen, there's disappointment on my end was you didn't want to disappoint your parents. And so you always seemed to be like you were walking on eggshells so that you wouldn't disappoint them. And what we want to do with our kids is eliminate the eggshells, man. Like, if you got to make some noise, know I'm going to still love you no matter what you do. But you need to know that so you can tell me everything. Because if I don't know everything, I don't know how to help you because I only have some of the information and not all of it. And so we've been very conscious about that.
Powerful, powerful. Any parting thoughts you want to share with the results leaders who are listening to us right now?
I think if you are looking for results in your life, both personally or professionally, again, knowing what your mission is, what the job is that you're trying to do, and then creating a plan. And in fact, that's why part of what we've done with our program through Hope 323 LLC and the Hope Project, which is our charities, we've actually built an app out that we're going to be launching in September that will offer our subscribers on the app a structured way to access coaching, curriculum, and community support so that you could find your way to success. And I think whether it be our app or just any type of tool, there's so many tools that are out there that you have to embrace the innovation in order to progress and get the results that you want. So don't be afraid to try something new. And more importantly, don't be afraid to fail, because sometimes through your failures, you get the best lessons. But know what you believe, know who inspires you, and know what your role is and what you're supposed to be doing, and connect with that. And if you can't, there are tools to help you.
I know our listeners are going to want more from you. Where can they get it?
They can reach out to me on our hope323.com website, or if they want to see what our charitable organizations are, they can go to hope323.org. But if they can, they're more than welcome to email us at inspiration@hope323.com to find out some more about what we're looking to do to help people change their lives and discover the best versions of themselves.
Oh, Simon, it's a pleasure hanging out with you. Thank you for being here and sharing your insights with us. Thank you, results leaders, for tuning in. Another episode is in the can. That is a wrap for another edition of resultsleader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to resultsleader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.